questions.
All right, guys, thanks for being here. Quick recap of last week. Obviously, we are not happy how we played last weekend. I thought we missed a great opportunity on the road. Give ULM credit. I thought they outplayed us in a lot of areas. But at the same time, we're not happy with our performance. I think the biggest thing that I took from that game were the penalties. I think we had 9 or 10 penalties, which is very uncharacteristic for us. And obviously the big turnover when the ball popped up there and they ran it back was a turning point as well. So, again, we are the penalties are a discipline issue. Obviously, I take the responsibility for that, something we have to really emphasize this week and get back to playing sound, disciplined football, and I think that's something that really hurt us last week. Anytime we got a big play, it felt like we either got a penalty or something that took us back. So we got to do a better job of that. Defensively, I was pleased with how we played. We did have a penalty there that hurt us a little bit, but I think that was that could have gone either way. But overall, really happy with our defense. They continue to play well, and offensively, we're a work in progress, and we got to get it figured out how we can move the ball and score points, create explosive plays, and then obviously eliminate all the penalties. So that's something we're working on as we speak, and we'll continue to do this week as we prepare for South Carolina. Moving on to this week, South Carolina, obviously head coach Shane Beamer, really good guy. I've known him for a long time. Used to recruit my school, legendary. He's the son of legendary head coach Frank Beamer, and he's been at some really good places: Oklahoma, Georgia, South Carolina, Virginia Tech. Been around really good coaches. You can see his team is being molded into kind of his personality, and knowing him well, he's going to do a great job there. And been really impressed with how hard those guys play. They're very sound, and I know they're still working through trying to revamp the roster a little bit, probably in recruiting, but I think they're off to a great start. Their defense coordinator Clayton White does a great job. Been most recently at Western Kentucky and NC State, and at Western Kentucky, I thought he did a great job there. He gives you a lot of different looks, very sound. Those guys are going to play extremely hard. You can tell he emphasizes that. And they got some really good players on that side of the ball. I'll mention in a few minutes. Marcus Satterfield, their offensive coordinator, been a head coach before, been in the NFL, does a great job scheming and trying to put his guys in the best play scenario to score points. I know they've had a quarterback injury. Luke Doty, he's getting back now. I think maybe last week or the week before, but he's back healthy or healthier than he was. And I recruited Luke in a previous stop, so I know him very well. He's a really good athlete and a competitor. And I'm sure they're happy to get him back. Their special teams coordinator, Pete Limbo, does a great job. He's been a head coach as well. Been around at different places, Memphis, Rice, Maryland. He's very good. Just watching their special teams, you can tell they emphasize it. They put their good players on special teams, and they're very, very sound. And I wouldn't expect anything different from Shane, one of Shane's teams, obviously with his special teams background. They're 2-2, coming off a 16-10 loss to an undefeated Kentucky team. So obviously they had every opportunity to win that game, and Kentucky's got a good football team. So we got our hands full, but at the same time, it's an exciting challenge for us. It's something we look forward to here at Troy, is getting the opportunity to play these Power 5 or SEC schools, and we'll have to play very well to have the opportunity to win. On offense, they're led, I think, by their receiver Josh Vann, number 6, very explosive. He's their big play threat in my mind. He can really run. I think he's got 2 games already of over 100 yards this year. He leads the team in targets, catches, and yards. In my mind, he's their guy, and he's explosive. A really good route runner. So we're going to have a great plan to try to neutralize him as much as we can. Defensively, Kingsley Enigbari, I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. I hope I did. He's a dynamic pass rusher, explosive, big-time player, playing in the NFL for a long time. Preseason first-team All-Conference, was 2020. He was all SEC, and he's a guy we got to know where he is. He leads their team in sacks and calls fumbles, and just really a very disruptive player and plays extremely hard. So we got to have a great plan for him and try to keep him as much as we can at bay, and do a great job with that. So overall, it's a good football team. I know. Obviously, anytime you got a first-year coach, you're going through some transition. But what I see on film is the guys that really play hard. Got some really good players on both sides of the ball, and obviously this is going to be a challenge for us, and we need to play physical. And if we do that and we get ourselves going offensively a little bit, I think we'll have a great opportunity. But we got to play a lot better than we did last week. So, all right. With that being said, we'll take questions.
Y'all had a long trip back Saturday night. I was curious if you practiced Sunday and how they responded. And I know ultimately it's up to the coaches to get a team ready and get back on the track. But how much do you rely on the veterans like Bradshaw and Marshall and Smith and guys like that to just get people back in the right mindset?
Yeah, I think first of all, I think we got back like at 6 a.m. maybe. Is that right? Yeah, 6 a.m. And obviously it was a day to get our guys back in that evening, let them go home and sleep, get them in that evening and do some recovery stuff with their bodies in the weight room and so forth. And then we met and watched the film and put that to bed and did not practice Sunday night. But, I think obviously when you have some veterans like Dylan and BJ and Carlton and those kind of guys, you're right. You lean on those guys to kind of show their leadership and their poise in these situations, and been very impressed with how they've gone about their business the last couple of days. Obviously, they're disappointed. Our team's disappointed in our performance and how we played, and obviously, I'm the head coach, so it's my responsibility, and I understand that. But we gotta get our guys ready to go this week. We've kind of moved on, and looking forward to this opportunity this weekend.
Back off that a little bit. How do you go about leaving this game in the past and looking forward? Because I know they're still young kids and that they're going to be reflecting on it. How do you get them to push what happened this Saturday out and focus on South Carolina?
Yeah, it's not difficult from the standpoint of we obviously disappointed how we played and we learned from it, but our guys are very resilient. At the end of the day, we're 2-2 and we got 8 games left. We don't have time to sit around and feel sorry for ourselves or act, disappointed in what we did. We are what we are. We didn't play good enough, and I think our players understand that. We got a mature team. We'll practice this afternoon, and I'll be shocked if we don't come out and respond very well today. From my interactions with our team the last day or so, those guys are very motivated, I think, to show people that we're better than what we showed last week, and that's something I think will drive us to have a good week of practice.
Last 2 weeks, it seems, in the last 2 weeks, you guys have gone into the half trailing. Before your offense kind of turned it on in the second half. Just, wondering what was behind that. The slow starts offensively before, kind of turning the corner in the third and fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think penalties were really, this past week, were really what hurt us. If you look back at our drives in the first half, we had a 9-yard run right across midfield that was called back because we weren't lined up on the line of scrimmage, I guess, is what the referee said. So we had a couple false starts. We had a couple holding penalties. And I think anytime you have those things, they're hard to overcome. You miss out on opportunities. I think moving the football offensively is a lot about rhythm and a lot about staying in a good, kind of, not being behind the chains and staying on schedule, so to speak. And when you get penalties and you get things that really put you behind the chains, it makes it difficult. And, our third down percentage was not very good. That was another area that we really, I thought, struggled. And I think it goes back to our second down plays weren't very good, which led to third and long. So, at the end of the day, we got to do a better job of executing. And I know that's something that has really hurt us the last couple of weeks, just executing, finishing blocks, and then obviously this week we added some penalties, which is uncharacteristic. We have not been penalized that much especially this year. We've done a really good job of that till this past week. But those are things we'll continue to work to correct and hopefully get off to a lot better start this week.
Obviously, there was the 96-yard touchdown return, the interception return, but the defense let up a couple big chunk plays for touchdowns. Was that just really good execution by them? Was it your guys being in the wrong place at the wrong time? What went behind those big plays?
One of them was we let a guy get behind us in cover 3, which is unfortunate. Played the wrong coverage and got turned around. So that's an execution thing. One of their drives was extended by, a 15-yard penalty for hitting the guy out of bounds, which, that's another debatable deal there, whether he was or not, but it was called. So therefore, we gave them an extra play, and then they scored a touchdown. I'm pretty sure that was the same drive. And then the 4th and 1 call, we just didn't stay in our gap. We had a guy there that was supposed to maintain leverage, and he ducked inside, and next thing you know, the guy's on the corner. So, it goes back to execution, like you said. Those are things that we got guys in the right place. We got guys, headed in the right direction, being where they're supposed to be, but we got to execute the call. And we just didn't do that on those two touchdowns for sure. And then obviously the return was a little bit of bad luck. I mean, the ball was, I guess, called or not totally called, pops up in the air, and there was just nobody there to stop him. So, a little bad luck on that. But the defensive stuff, I mean, we got to execute the call, and I think that's what it comes down to.
Taylor threw the ball off a lot Saturday night. Was that more of a trying to catch up mode or a lack of trust in the running game, or is that kind of that identity?
Well, I think when you get behind, we got behind 2 scores, and I also think too that we wanted to get the ball down the field. Those guys really played a drop 8 defense, which kept us from being able to throw a lot of balls way down the field. And when you're struggling running the ball and all the, when you're behind the chains with long yardage, it makes you throw it probably a little more than you would. Of course, once we got down in the 4th quarter, we just felt like we had to go as fast as we can and try to get the ball down the field as often as possible. So probably, John, to answer your question, a little bit of both, a little bit of lack of execution in the run game, but also, being down and trying to rally there at the end, I think led to some of that.
When you look at the South Carolina defense, do you see any opportunities to potentially get the run game going in this matchup? You give up around 140 or so game with the Browns. Is this a game you're hoping maybe this with this rushing attack can get things going?
Yeah, definitely. We want to try to be able to run the football. I mean, that's something that we've said, we've stressed, and we've tried to do. Obviously, it'll be a big challenge. They've got some big bodies in there that are athletic. I mean, when you play an SEC team, you gotta be physical. You gotta bring some physicality with you. Something we're challenging our guys to do this week. I think the defensive line is a strength of theirs, so I don't think it's going to be easy by any means. But we've played some pretty good D-lines also early on, so maybe that'll help prepare us. But it'll be a challenge for sure. We're going to have to be very creative how we go about doing it, especially early in the game. But it's something that we need to try to be able to do to help us play good offense, is to get a run game established and